You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out.
Rising with each beat of the music is bringing real flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart's so full. I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive. We're just listening. We're existing. We stay when the music plays. Let us drop below and the people sway.
You've seen that right. We are starting in 8-bit, the very well-known specific graphic 8-bit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Elite League, the first cast of its kind, actually, for Elite League. Going to be Zephyr Black versus George, Arvo, Mark, Toad. The lineups, we unfortunately don't have a graphic because it was a bit of a last minute, but I can tell you the graphic, or the lineups. Going to be having Zephyr Black using Psych, Sean, Life, Insane, and Matt. GAMT fronting Cabo, Mark, Mike, Thomas, and Giorgio. So, strong lineups from both teams for what we've seen, and very important match. This is week 5 out of a 5-week group stage. The winner of this is going to, depending on the point difference, be the top seed in the playoffs for Division 1. And that's very important because you get the decision for rule set match 1 and 3 if needed for the final, which you go straight to. There is also another match soon after this, but unfortunately, probably not going to be able to get casted. We'll see what happens, but yeah, we are just waiting for the final player to join. Let's have a quick look in the chat. Who do you think's going to win? Are we going to do a hashtag GAMT win, a hashtag ZY win? Let's find out. Not Stunky again, why? Oh no. For those who don't know, I am Stunky, and I am going to be your caster for today. Got a hashtag tie in the chat. That would be a very interesting result, actually, if we can get a tie. Not sure we'll manage, but it's not impossible. And I'm also going to be making sure the scores are going to be getting counted properly. We've got a few GAMT selections from Owen himself. And it's basically no copyright sounds for anyone who wants to know the music. So not going to be able to name it because it's going to be all over the place. But it is just a no copyright sounds playlist. And we're going to have another look. Oh, ZY, because GAMT isn't all Wee Wheelers. We're blaming them for the logo. That's good. It's a good start. Oh, we've got Arvo talking about the Mercedes. Well, that's a good start. Not sure the F1 scores. Is that this year's... Oh, sorry, last year's championship or what? What's happening there? Either way, we do now have ZY Sean. What a player. And we will be starting shortly. So, the perspective, for anyone who is wondering, is going to be Thomas from GAMT. So, we'll in the future try to put a little symbol for that. But, You know, credit to Simo for making the graphics. It's just obviously the first week of these graphics. So if there are any criticisms, feel free to give them and we'll see what we can do. But I think they look quite nice, to be fair. I mean, they're so nice I can stick the word a bit where the time is. That works for me. Because it suits stuff a lot better than the starting soon we used to have to try and cram into a tiny box for WL. But either way, this is a suicide war, believe it or not. So GAMT's not getting the troll. I know that may have been one of their wishes for the troll to come out, but it's not going to be happening. Can ban Arvo. Well done, Owen. I'd rather not see tablelol.png because it's probably one of those PNGs that isn't a PNG and changes into something spooky. So please don't click that. Other than not clicking a link, someone else can check because I'm not going to be checking that, unfortunately. But we are underway, and let's see what GAMT pick. ZY are the host team and therefore will be able to get first in the picks, but do they have anything else that could help them? We'll find out very shortly as we do go towards the VR screen. And, okay, so GAMT's got quite a few spots. So 1-4 for ZY. They might want to go for maybe Toad's Factory, but a lot of Bowser's Castle's coming out. Believe it or not, we've got Bowser's Castle and N64 Bowser's Castle. That's another Bowser's Castle. So both teams opting for a Bowser's Castle of some sort. No one wanting GBA Bowser Castle 3. That's a shame. But we are going to be getting N64 Bowser's Castle to begin with. And it's going to be very important to see how this Suicide War goes. Because if you would have assumed some of these players as being more suited to trolling, at least for GAMT, so it's going to be a challenge. Either way, I believe they are going into the playoffs, both teams. Zephyr were 4-0-0 going into this. I think GAMT were 3-0-1. But if GAMT win this by, I think it's 120 odd, then they go through to first place on point differential. But as things stand, ZY have got into an early lead. They are now top 2. Thomas goes to the fib, but it's not in the ideal competitive line, as you normally would try and go wide on the bridge, or to the left on the bridge, so you can take the turn a bit tighter. And gonna be seeing ZY try to backspam to get rid of Thomas. Still managing to stay on the track, not getting hit. Gets into first even for a second there. I think there's going to be a bit of a latency problem. So sometimes the positions might not be accurate, but Thomas does get readied out. So top 3 for ZY right now, but one of the GAMT members, fortunately for them, does have Shroom, so gets back into that pack. I think that's going to be one of the important things for this race. If GAMT can at least cause a bit of trouble up there and prevent ZY from breaking that much, then they can stop the damage from happening as much as it could at least. And that blue's going to help them even more as it gets 2 of ZY. 1-3 now for GAMT. Looking a few seconds ago, you'd have said that the bottom 3 runners were in a bit of trouble, but they have actually got up quite well now again. Top 3's got a slight break, but it's only by, I'd say, about 2 seconds. And ZY are first, but GAMT are 2-3. This could be quite an even race. We're not sure on the spots behind us. Thomas isn't looking backwards, but I know he just looks backwards just as we say it. So he's got a ZY member in 4th, but I don't think 4th's close enough where something like a red shell would hit. So in 4th's mind, if he's got a red shell, he'd maybe want to use it backwards as opposed to throwing it towards Thomas. One of the other GAMT members does get hit down though, and I'd say that GAMT member is maybe close enough to be hit by an item. But quite a few people behind Thomas are getting hit by these back spams. Thomas is doing quite well at reading and remembering where the back spams and everything have been. Has to watch out for that green, as he does. Don't think anyone falls for the green, unfortunately, for ZY's efforts. But 2-3 could be okay. A lot better than it would have been if they didn't get the blue and if the few top spots didn't come into play. And he's going to slow down in case the blue comes. Smart play for the team there. And now we just have to wait for the 30 seconds to pass for the baggers. And then after, we'll have a look in the chat and see what people think. I think a good demonstration of running by Thomas. But towards the back, we didn't get to see too much. Looks like GAMT actually managed to claim a win off that. That's going to be a 32-29, I believe. Before we've even tried doing the maths. 2, 3, 5, 6, 10. Yeah, that's going to be +3 for GAMT right now. And let's have a quick look in the chat, see what people think. Watching an Amazon Prime ad, not D1 match. That's not a good start. But GAMT casting is going to hijack the broadcast. I'm not sure. Maybe one day we'll use a new feature instead of just seeing one player. We are really looking forward to that, to be fair. Coconut Mall versus Bowser's Castle coming through. But yeah, if there is the spectator mode, which I know myself, Katie, and a few others have been looking forward to for some time, then it will definitely help this. The issue is, obviously, when you've only got one streamer or whatever, and spectator mode doesn't exist, you do get to a stage where you are quite limited, especially when to have more than one stream either way, the stream host needs a pretty powerful computer. But Coconut Mall coming in. I guess we'll have to see if some of GAMT get shrooms to take an early lead through the cut, but Thomas is going to fall victim to that red, even though he tried quite well to get away from it. I'm going to be going to see his Mega. What can they do, though? GAMT in 6-7. ZY have got these triple greens, actually, in 5th place. Right now, yeah, I was going to say he's going to want to backspam there to try and get one of the GAMT members out from behind him, and does succeed, but I think hits a wall. Probably clips it, goes to a bit too tight, thinking that he can make it, and clips the edge. It is a common mistake to make, but regardless, we're now sat watching Thomas in 4th place. GAMT also have 3rd, but ZY have top 2, and they're going to have to want to get them out. And given Thomas is holding, the shock is it's either going to be in play already and held by GAMT's members, or he's just going to hope to predict it from ZY. There's been at least 40 seconds now that the shock could have been pulled at the 30-second mark, the shock pulling time roughly, or when the shock's in play at least, possible. But yeah, the ZY top 2 have managed to get a bit of a break on. Only a second or two, but it's a significant kind of break on this track unless a dodge can happen. Looks like second may have been slowing down or something. May have hit something, actually, given that he didn't want to backspam the shells. But Thomas not dodging and the shot coming soon after. ZY maybe trying to catch up their bottom place so they can maybe get 1, 3, 4, 5, which would be a devastating race for them to get. But right now, Thomas able to hold on to 2nd place, and with these bananas, you'd assume he's going to be able to hold on for a bit longer. I'm not sure what GAMT's troll or GAMT's bagger's doing right there. I guess trying to just get the point, but you obviously want to be very careful for trolling at this point also. So Thomas doing well to get 2nd, but again, it's one of those races where you only really see Thomas for GAMT up the front. And they're not doing that bad behind, to be fair, but, you know, leaves a bit to be desired as ZY get all the odd spots that race. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And that 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is going to put them up 6. We'll have a very quick look to see what the chat's thinking about this war right now. I'm noticing that ZY are all running. Don't worry. But obviously you don't have to play all run at this suicide particular rule. You have to realise that even in all run, you can be in 9th place and go for the shock. You know, it can happen. It's a strategy that can happen. But, I mean, ZY going all run, fair enough. They went suicide, which was a smart pick. Because if they went trolling and then went all run, then GAMT would have probably wreaked a bit of havoc. Because they have got the reputation of being a rather strong team. As Grumble Volcano getting picked for race 3. And let's see what Grumble Volcano can do. Obviously, as the top division, you'd expect most people to be able to take rock and shortcuts like that quite seamlessly. So, you know, maybe there'll be a few people trying to target shock if the shock does get in play later on in the track. But right now, Thomas is maybe, now that he's been bumped, thinking about getting mushrooms to take a shortcut. GAMT are in 2-4. This ZY member's doing quite well to try and cause a bit of havoc for Thomas. But unfortunately, one of the greens seems to have hit a ZY member. Thomas, unfortunately, only getting a green, won't be able to take the shortcut with that. We're going to be seeing quite a few people behind him take the shortcut, 2 for this lap in particular, as GAMT are in one of those bottom 2 running spots. Were in a star, but now out. Was going to say, you wouldn't expect an early shock like that. But a red coming in, going to be connecting with Thomas. He might... Okay, no, I was going to say he might go back and try and go for a box and, you know, go for a lower space box, but he's not gone for that. What he's doing right now is holding the PAL, maybe waiting for his team to take the shortcut. Going to see the PAL come in now, maybe? No? Okay. Ah, shock. Shock there. That makes sense. ZY using the shock there, I think. Yeah, ZY obviously using the shock. They dodged in a bill. What am I thinking? But, you would have said, why didn't they maybe use the PAL when GAMT were taking the shortcut? Because, you know, there wouldn't have been much harm, but either way, Thomas pulling a blooper, not going to be able to do too much with that. The bomb's going to get him. That's a well-placed bomb, to be quite fair. And 8-9, oh, sorry, 7-8 now, going to be GAMT. GAMT's bagger is just sitting there. He's had a fun time. And Thomas makes a shortcut, but it's not going to do, Okay, no, that's going to do maybe a little bit. Maybe you can get past 1 or 2 of the ZY members. No, not enough. I was going to say, very close. Very, very close calculation there, but unfortunately not done enough to get past those 2 or 3 ZY members. The fact that 3 ZY members were there, and one of them probably was going for the shot, given they did dodge, indicates it's a bad race for ZY up front, though. Unless first's in their name, it's going to be devastating. Okay, top 2, so that's a winning race for GAMT. Devastating more in the case of, you know, a win for GAMT. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 is going to be the result for the Zephyr team. And that's only actually a -3. So they're not too fussed, I don't think, about Grumble Volcano. Spots, however, they may be a bit more fussy with, given that top 2 now belong to GAMT. In this case, you'd maybe want to pick a short running track. You know, one that doesn't hinder the top spots. We're going to be seeing maybe... oh no, he's not going to be going for the track I was maybe expecting. Nope, okay. Wario's Gold Mine. Why not? We'll have a look at the chat after this GP. Apologies to anyone that may have had a comment on that race that we will not be showing right now. As I go for a bit of water because, you know, commentary and all that. And looks like we're going to be going to Wario's Gold Mine right now. Wario's Gold Mine's okay. Got to watch out that you're not bumped at the early stages, because you can fall behind quite easily on this track. And whereas there is a target shock spot, that's quite devastating. There's a few other considerations to make at the same time, and looks like all 10 players are going forwards to begin with. But GAMT taking a few low spots, and one of GAMT's members deciding that he's had enough of going forwards. He will be going backwards after all. Life managing to connect a red, I think it was, a red shell over to one of the GAMT members. Thomas not getting a box. He's probably going to want a box here, given that ZY's player ahead of him had the greens, but he does go the other way, so trying to get away. He's got to watch out, though, because ZY are all around him. He's going to be thinking about defence, and hitting a fib's probably not the best thing to think about when you're doing defensive, but that blue would be okay if first opts to slow down and let ZY pass or something. But given that ZY are 2, 3, 4 and GAMT to first, it could be deadly either way. If he slows down and, you know, third or fourth have reds and manage to connect to first places, funky, then it's trouble. But obviously, if they don't manage to connect, then ZY lose a lot. So it's risk versus reward is what is going through their minds. And right now, Thomas has got to sacrifice his potential for running for this blue, although he's obviously doing really well to stay in the pack. The shot coming in, not a target shock or anything like I thought we'd see this race, but we'll have to see what it does to ZY. First place still GAMT. 1-4 is more than likely going to be a winning race if they can avoid anything else, but it's going to be all down to Thomas, I think. First place is almost in the bag. My voice is not in the bag. That power has not done enough to get rid of first. And that mega was fortunate. Dodge just at the end for a bit of good measure, as I think one of GAMT's members comes up right at the end to get 1, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 1, 4, 5, 6. So 7, 8, 9 is going to be the bottom three for Zephyr. That is going to actually put the scores at 121 to 123 after the first GP, with GAMT only up 2. A few people were predicting ties. Well, it's quite close, isn't it? It's weird as well, because you're seeing that Thomas is the kind of player that they're putting forwards quite a lot, and these other GAMT players are playing pack quite well. And what I mean when I say that is GAMT will put 1 or 2 people running, 1 or 2 people playing in the middle trying to just cause havoc, and then obviously they've got their person going backwards, turning their monkey the wrong way round. Now, he's not going to pick a monkey and I'm going to look like an idiot, but, you know, that's the thing. And obviously, Zephyr trying to go all run. They are suffering a bit through some of these shocks, but they have themselves got 1 or 2 shocks, so, you know, maybe if GAMT are going down into the final GP, you'd consider the option of GAMT just following the all-run suite if they're getting kind of outclassed up front. And I don't mean outclassed in skill level, I mean more as in they're being outnumbered. Outnumbered's probably a better word. Having a quick look in the chat. My voice is not in the bag. I mean, it's true. My voice went. My voice isn't having a good day, I'm going to be honest. It's quite hot in my room, so it's very bad. And I've got no water. I have no drink anymore. I've just used it. Cooper Cape versus Bowser's Castle going to be the selections right now. Obviously, again, for those who've just tuned in, GAMT up 2 after 4 races. Going to be watching the perspective of Thomas. And I'm Stunky. I'm going to be commentating the rest of this, probably alone, because I'm a loner and, you know, sad emoji, all that kind of stuff. But Bowser's Castle, we might be seeing a few people take the glitch because it's not banned. So, for those who don't know what the glitch is, I'll talk about it a bit more once we get towards it. But a few of these players are definitely of the skill level where they should be a bit more consistent at it than the average kind of lower skill level player. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, I just mean they've probably practiced it a lot. And there's GAMT's bagger going backwards, and Thomas is going for a 9th place box. No, he's not. He just slowed down for a bit. Maybe... Oh, I get it. Yeah, he's trying to prevent them from getting a box in 9th at 30. That's a somewhat smart play. Trying to make sure that Zephyr's lowest box for the first set had to be 8th. And by doing that means that he increases the chances of 10th being able to pull it. And if 10th doesn't, then he'd be in 9th. So he'd have the chance of pulling it. For those who didn't understand, basically he's preventing the 8th place or the 9th place spot from being in Zephyr's hands while it's possible for them to get the shock. And he slows down for a bit there as well. Might slow down at this set just to... No, I think at this point the shock might be in play. Definitely seems like he's playing and knows. You know, he's holding this star at this point. We'll see what 9th place is doing, but 9th place is also, as a Zephyr member, not really... Oh no, there's a star coming behind. I was going to say he's not doing much. Maybe he was holding and predicting, but he's predicted wrong if he was predicting. And all ZY can do is sit there. And they are 5, 6, 7. It's not going to go well if the shot can be used properly. Not too sure where they're going to choose to use the shot. Maybe over just the obvious jump. But it is a very tight pack. So there's a lot of risk and stuff. It might just be safer to go round the spiral just after the Ultra's been tried. But no one really going for the Ultra. The Ultra is there. That ramp, you take a bit of a sharp turn. One of ZY's members does actually predict the shock properly. But as Thomas is in that star, he's managed to get past, and these triple greens should be able to be enough. I don't think someone's going to be able to outrun Thomas on that short section. Fib nearly gets him, but not enough. And ZY only managed to get the second out of that. Although, obviously, very good prediction, but you could also say that there wasn't much more time for them to use it. 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay. 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 is a +3. So ZY now up 1. We'll have a quick look in the chat to see what's happening. Not trying to get religious, but what is Elite League? The real Elite League. It's basically a league that follows the traditional round robin kind of format, like the olden days WL used to, before they've started taking it and turning it into like playoffs and all that. Or, sorry, no playoff, 8-team divisions, that kind of stuff. This is just round robin with the best of 3 playoffs. And as it's a short season, this in particular one, 5 weeks is all that Division 1 have, because they have 6 teams. The 4-team divisions are going to be playing 6 weeks in their group stage and a 1-week final. The top 3 teams in Division 1 make it to the final stage, the semi-final, and then first versus the winner of that in the grand final. We're going to be seeing DS Peach Gardens, though, for right now. A track where often if you go towards the middle spots, get a shroom, you can take the shortcut, and the strat is to get triple shrooms and take it every lap if you can. Right now, though, doesn't look like we can see much of that happening. Thomas going to be going for a box. He's going to slow down and show that very smart play again. The 200 IQ level sit in 9th game. And I guess ZY don't fancy sitting in 9th, because they could just as easily slow down and do it until a shock's definitely in play. But GAMT are playing really well for this shock. And ZY's please is hoping that he can connect. Doesn't manage just now. But I reckon Thomas should chain this star. Doesn't manage, so okay. He's going to fall a bit behind, but if they do have the shock and they use it early enough, he's going to catch up and definitely get into the top 4 spots at least. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get straight to first because it is quite a distance, but that's based on whether they actually need a shock. From what we see, a lot of ZY are at the back, so if first place is GAMT and there's no blue or anything, then, you know, no reason to go for shock. And I guess we'll find out at this set. This set is the traditional one. None of ZY are in dodges. He's in a dodge, though. Where's the shock going to come in? Maybe ZY are in a mega slightly further up, but either way, no dodge after all. But we are seeing that he's passing a lot of these ZY members. If ZY is the player in 4th, then that's top 3 for GAMT if I'm getting my maths correct, and that would be devastating. Blue comes in. I'm not sure if it's going to connect. No, it doesn't get, just avoids. But ZY are in a lot of these low spots, and that's going to be bad for them. Potential top 3 could have been better, but Thomas obviously having to play this pack role for that race does very well. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 for Zephyr. I mean, you can't deny it's smart play from GAMT. It's the kind of play that seems to be catching people out right now. And we'll have a very quick look in the chat to see what people are thinking. I mean, yeah, if they have the hitting people that... Ooh. The all-run is fair enough because I understand quite a few people don't enjoy bagging as a concept because they would much rather go forwards. You know, going backwards isn't exactly the funnest thing in the world for some people, and, you know, there's a lot of debate as to whether or not trolling and suicide have anything to do with actual skill, and the fact that you can pull it, or pull the required items in 9th and 10th, you know, why not just all run and sit at the back? And that's kind of what we're seeing here, or that's kind of what we're seeing Thomas prevent right here, is the whole mindset of why not sit in 9th. You know, it's possible to pull it in 9th, so why not sit in 9th for Zephyr? But GAMT are absolutely adamant, and Thomas is showing it at some of these races that GAMT want 9-10. And while they're 9-10, the chance of ZY getting shock are quite slim, I think it's safe to say. And the chance of Giorgio getting shock while Thomas holds an item is quite high, because obviously Thomas is getting rid of an item that would be in the wheel for Giorgio otherwise. But we won't be seeing it happen from Thomas in particular this race, because he is in 5th holding the Mega. We'll see what's going to happen as... Oh no, the bomb does actually connect, and yeah, this all run hasn't worked so far. Although you say that, ZY were actually very close. Were actually up until the race we've just seen, so maybe a bit unfair to say it's not working for them. It's just, you know, Thomas is playing quite smart, and a few of the other GAMT members are also playing quite smart with their items. We're going to be seeing Thomas hold this star. Might have to use it for the POW. Will it activate a shock? They're not going to panic shock. No panic shock coming in. I guess they've decided that they have a high enough spot that's worth it. Either that or they've not pulled it yet. And I guess we'll find out based upon where the bagger is. The bagger's just sat there going for boxes, I believe. So they might not have pulled it. Fair enough. Thomas has got to watch out for his own team's reds, but he does manage, and he's going to be shrooming. And that does open the pack up. 1-3 now for GAMT. ZY falling behind a bit. And obviously, if GAMT have the shock, you know, if a blue comes in, they can cancel. I think that's going to be their plan, is if a blue comes in, there's a cancel. You know, if any of GAMT's members get hit, there's a cancel for it. But 1-3 in the bag for GAMT. ZY having all the spots around, but 1-3 I believe is probably enough to make sure that there's not much damage being done. 2-4-5-7-8. And 2-4-5-7-8 is going to be a +1 for ZY. So, not enough for them to really make a dent. But, I believe as things stand, Zephyr Black would still be going through as first seed on point differential. The points would show GAMT's point difference is 39. Zephyr Black's is 276. So the points would have to be... Thomas trying to do maths in his head, not working. I think a win by 120 would be just enough to swing it round. But, you know, right now, that 120 is not in the questions. What's in the questions is who's going to win their own battle. You know, some would say this is practice for the final. If, you know, if this is the final lineup, you know, they're definitely the two of the stronger teams in the division. And I believe they're going to be playing with SY because SY claimed a win yesterday. So, don't think anyone... Oh no, if GAMT lose and they forfeit their second place and they end up third seed for the playoffs, that's also quite important. But as things stand, GAMT would qualify second, Zephyr Black first. SY, who won their match yesterday, have qualified. They just need to know if they're third or second. They cannot get first right now, as they have obviously finished their matches and ZY would be ahead of them. Thomas right now, after being hit off, has got the opportunity to go for this sit-in ninth strat again. It's a well-known meta, you know. I mean, I know we're going to bash on this kind of playstyle, but if ZY are not willing to go back, you know, it's not the hardest thing to do. Then, you know, their inability or unwillingness to fall down to the low standards of going backwards, that's going to harm them. And Giorgio knows all too well that he doesn't even have to go back the whole way, because if none of ZY's going back, why would he have to go back to a low spot when he can just sit in 10th? Obviously be a lap behind, so as ZY can't just, you know, go back and make sure they hit 10th. But, yeah, I think at this point it's going to be good shock status for GAMT. And they just have to do the catch-up job that we've seen in a few of these races now. Cooper Caper track where there is obviously a target shock ramp. Not sure that's going to have to be used. We'll see what Thomas pulls in 8th, and that may dictate their item usage. No, he's just going to be using this golden, so doesn't care so much for the golden. And no shock coming in play just yet. He's going to be going for dodges, though. And that star may be what you see the dodge or the shock used for very shortly. Not going for a shortcut there, opting maybe for a slightly less predictable one. And yet, there's the shock. Predictable enough. Trying to get some of ZY out. ZY still in first, though. What can Thomas do? The red is going to be pulled. Can he connect? Can't yet confirm. But he's now in first. This is going to be fantastic for GAMT if the spots behind, if some of them are GAMT. But right now, ZY doing their hardest to try and get back into first place. Nearly getting back spammed. 1-3, I believe. Oh, Sean got hit. Did he get hit after the line? I think is the big question. Couldn't see that in the one perspective we've got. He did get hit before the line, and that's going to be devastating for ZY. They were going to get a 2-4-5. That would have been very good, but they now have to settle for a 3-4-5-7-9. And 3-4-5-7-9 is a losing race. Not by too much, I don't believe. No, just by 5. So, GAMT now up a grand total of 20 points going into the final GP. We'll have a quick look in the chat, see what people are thinking. I don't think that all run is working right now. Apologies, I will be 1 quick second as my throat dies. Fantastic job, me. Okay, so after all that, I realised my mic didn't work. That was even better. But the real question is, can GAMT do enough? And I don't think they can right now. The strategy of Zephyr is clearly either just to hold on as they are and make sure they don't lose by 120, or obviously to win. But as things stand, the only way that GAMT can change the outcome, even if they win this match, is if they win by 120 or more, or something around the ballpark of 120. And as we've seen so far, not going to happen. But we'll have to see. Quite a few of the teams that GAMT have been playing with are in the top division and have been in leagues for some time. At least some of the players have. Meanwhile, GAMT, this is one of their first seasons in a top division in any league ever. And they are proving that they're capable. They are fighting and holding off their own. In fact, second place even for them would probably be a very respectable way to make their mark in higher division Mario Kart. You know, a few people doubting the placement, but they are proving it right now. And I think that's going to be Moonview Highway. We'll find out. Yep, Moonview Highway coming in for the 9th race. We're going to have to get an F for my microphone not working for half the weight. But Moonview Highway is a track where some of these more skilled players can run. We'll have to see how the pack play comes out because, you know, this could still be Zephyr's war. They've held off quite well despite the fact that they're not even bagging. But you have to admire GAMT's ways of trying to take on teams that are much more reputable in kind of historic terms than them. They've been around for some time themselves, but not made a massive mark in top divisions. And now this is their opportunity, and they are doing it in style. Thomas doing very well to get away from the Bob-omb. Has to get away from these cars as well as he breaks into first place off that golden mushroom. Watches out for that truck and bomb. He's basically just got to play the game of hold first in this scenario. There's not much else to say. He's watching out for the cars very well. He's obviously quite knowledgeable on the patterns, I say, as he probably runs into a car in like 30 seconds time. It is just down to can some of the other GAMT members hold. He's got to watch out for the... yeah, there we are. He's now at a bit more of a smooth section for the lack of lorries, trucks, cars, whatever you want to call them. And obviously his bagger's still in 10th place. What a strong spot for him. I do admire the fact that they've seen that ZY are going all run and they're trying to make them suffer for it. And ZY, obviously, they're judging the running and thinking that they can do some damage, but Thomas has just made it quite clear that there is a capable runner that can get a break on Moonview Highway. And he has just done the job for GAMT there. Obviously not mathematically impossible, but that first is going to make it so that this race isn't as harmful as it could have been with the 2-3-4. 2-3-4-6-7, though, still a very big race. It's going to be a plus 13. GAMT now up 7. Again, though, credit to both of these teams. GAMT for trying to take on, a very experienced squad in Zephyr Black, and Zephyr Black for, doing their own strat, suicide, but it's actually all run for them, and they're just trying to let the shocks do the least damage they can. They've predicted a few quite well. Bowser's Castle at the end with a Bill Dodge doing one of them, but we'll have a look. Oh, lovely comment from Sweep in the chat. We won't be looking at how hard he grinds that particular body part, but Toad's Factory versus Waluigi Stadium will be the track selections going into this 10th race. And going to be getting Waluigi Stadium. Waluigi Stadium, a track that a few people are going to be able to run. Unfortunately not very good at time trial record holders. I know Thomas isn't going to be the world record holder for Waluigi Stadium. It's Totem, but I believe he's very competent. I think very competent is a polite way of saying it, but he's going to be trying to hold. But one of ZY's members did get an early shroom and break into first. Can Thomas's competence mean that he can get past the ZY member? He's red. He's going to be going for them and does connect. So back into first. GAMT members do have that shock chance as well. That's one of the key things that's going to dictate this match. Shock comes in. Target shocking maybe one or two of the ZY members early. Either that or it was a ZY shock. I'm unable to really read the map because we haven't looked back far enough to see who dodged what. And he's done well to make sure the power doesn't do too much to him. Who is second? I think that was a GAMT name. And first place, I mean, just see this. This is the kind of running we're expecting, and it's top 2 for GAMT with quite a break as well, just to make insults worse. Adding salt to those wounds. If GAMT get a good race here, that probably puts Zephyr's chances of winning in a bit of a question mark of doubt. Wouldn't make it impossible, but a big win is obviously going to be very good for GAMT, given they have had a bit more of this momentum and they have been playing the strats as you'd expect. ZY with the all run no bag. Been a bit more questionable for their strategy. Obviously very competent runners, but some of these races, like Waluigi Stadium, you've seen that one or two early shocks has been enough to kill off their presence at the front, and GAMT getting top 2 there, very well done to them. Not going to be a big... They're not going to magically win this race by like 112 to get themselves in the contention to, win. In fact, they lost that by 1 because of all the ZY members behind them, but they, again, doing well to prevent the damage. GAMT need to basically get a point off of this. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a +1. If I've done my maths correct in my head, yep. So 302 to 308 with 2 races to go. And we'll have a quick look in the chat to see what people think. Are we going to be getting a Zephyr win or a GAMT win? A few people saying Zephyr would be up if they bagged. And I've had the dummy of assuming Totem still had record. It's obviously beaten. I've probably been in a call while he's time trialled it as well, just to make it worse. Add insult to my injury. But DK Summit versus Delfino Square. GAMT up 6 points right now. For those tuning in with not much left in this war. Zephyr are in first in the seedings. Right now, it is mathematically impossible, I believe, unless a miracle happens, like a penalty, for GAMT to get first seed. This is now the battle to see if GAMT can keep their second seed or if they lose out, because point difference would still be in the way. But we'll have a look at point difference and head-to-head and fancy stuff like that after the war if we have time. But right now, what matters... Oh, that's not good. That's even worse. That's just devastating, unfortunately. We'll have a look and see exactly what Thomas can do in 8th place. Might just opt to, yeah, do the double as you need. Quite a smooth double to make things better for them, but still a few low spots. ZY, if they can get a few... If they can get a good race here, they are obviously in with a chance of claiming the win. Claiming the win would put GAMT all the way back into 3rd place. But if point difference is the factor that determines, then, you know, unfortunately GAMT haven't done enough to get first. And we'll have a look. But DK Summit, as we go towards the final lap, we are going to be seeing GAMT in a couple of these spots, but ZY also in at least 3, 4. So neither team having a really terrible race. I'd watch out if I were Thomas, because, yeah, that's going to happen. I thought that was going to happen. Just saw it and knew. But nothing he could have done. Just came straight out of the cannon. Oh, I guess GAMT's player had a... bill or something, and therefore Thomas decides straight down the middle with the Mega. Yeah, Thomas deciding he didn't have enough momentum. I guess in his mind he's got the game sense to know whether or not he's going to make a shortcut, and he decided it looked too sketchy. He was correct with that judgment, the quick decision to turn. And we'll have to see what that did to the results. Are GAMT still in the lead, or have Zephyr managed to do just enough? I think GAMT had quite a good race after all, but this is based off of me looking at one perspective and does highlight the need for spectator modes. You can see right at the front. No, the front saw GAMT get top 3. I was right after all. So ZY getting 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is actually going to be doing a lot of damage. A minus 31 situation now for ZY. Question's going to be asked on whether or not they should have bagged a bit earlier, as they're now down 31 with 1 race to go. Eel chat time. Maybe he thinks bagging is necessary on cannon tracks. Well, I don't know. He's going to do it, but the blue definitely important, but yeah, the big question as to why Zephyr didn't bag a bit earlier, because it's quite devastating when you when you're in that scenario. As I look towards the results and probably cry. One moment, let me have a look at what the results say. Ah, okay, so that's a problem. We're going to have to look at tiebreakers if GAMT win this, because there's a problem with the current rule, in which obviously you don't have a home and an away match, so head-to-head doesn't actually do anything. because you can't have a head-to-head on one match where one team had the rule set and the host and everything. So, Council's going to have a look at that if head-to-head does come in. But right now, Dry Ruins, the final race for the war. And this golden is going to be good for Thomas to potentially take a cut at the end of lap 1, going into the start of lap 2. We'll see what he opts to do. Yeah, had to watch out for the bats, because hitting the bats does slow you down quite a lot. Unfortunately, though, the physics... Oh, no, he's recovered quite well. I was going to say, didn't do the optimal turn, but doesn't matter when you recover that well. There are some times, though, where you just can't seem to recover that well at all. And Thomas is going to be taking the shortcut, as I expected. Does clip something, so I'm not sure if he's going to... Oh, no, we'll just make it. I was going to say, if he was clipping that for much longer, he would have been in the off-road when the shroom boosts ended. But he did make it. Now in first place, hits an item to make sure that GAMT are in a bit of a spot of bother. Not major, but top 2. And that blue's just going to sort it out. Why not? You know, if you're in problems, if you're in Problemville, why not send a blue? And as things stand, ZY still in with a chance. If they can get top 4 or something, they are definitely up with a chance. But Thomas is doing quite well to hold his fort. And ZY now top 2, 4, I believe, as things stand. He's not looking back enough for us to get an exact confirmation on that. But shock does come in. Who's going to be dodging is the big question. It's a ZY member. So ZY have the opportunity of top 3. One of them fails to skip the turn quick enough. And that does put a bit of doubt as to what's going to be able to happen. If Thomas gets hit out in the last second, and he does, what's going to happen? What's ZY managed? I think that's going to be a very close race. I think that's a very close race, and I think it's going to be all down to this results screen. Bottom 4, that's going to be a significant race. Is it enough? 47. I think they've just done it. I think they've just done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen a final race comeback. I'm just going to confirm with my mathematical brain, as I've completely forgotten what they had, a 5, 6. And they have just done it. They're up by 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen a fantastic display from Zephyr Black at the end of that. We weren't expecting that. I don't think anyone was expecting that. But that green is all it took to end GAMT's hopes. And thank the Lord, because Council don't have to debate head-to-head if this is the final score. Yay! Gonna have a quick look at chat. Bottled it again. Rooster. ZY. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy! Bottle Masters. We've got Bottle Masters. Are we getting BM in the chat, please? That's bad luck. Thomas is apparently Acre. Oh, that's amazing. I know there's still going to be a lot of questions to how the particular strats happen. The fact that ZY went suicide and didn't actually suicide. But as things stand, without penalties, we're looking at a win for Zephyr Black, which would put GAMT, after all that effort, I think in second place. I think with the bonus point, they've done enough to hold on to their second place, but nothing more. I'll quickly have a look to see. Yeah. No. They are actually in. This is when it's going to get tough, because I've got to do maths, because there's not actually an update to show the exact point difference. What did it? SY won anyway, so yeah, SY would have 10 points, GAMT would have 10, but less point difference, and SY, or GAMT, sorry, lost to Gun. Okay, so that's going to make head-to-head a bit difficult to look at, but, you know, big bottle. Bit of a shame. it's unfortunate because it's a grand total of like one mistake on a turn, and it's by one of the runners that had probably actually scored the most. Haven't got a table up on my screen, but it's just a bit devastating because obviously going tight lap 3 in third, you know, even then you wouldn't expect ZY to manage to get like top 3, 5, 6. It's just, it can't be scripted. Arvo is correct. Josh, you've been noticed. Ah. But yeah, thanks for watching. I think that's probably all we can really do right now. We'll obviously make sure that any final decisions can go to council, but thanks for watching this. I'm sure we'll probably upload some of this if it's uploadable onto our YouTube channel, because, you know, YouTube is a fantastic platform for its content creators and totally doesn't have a significant bias to the family-friendly ones that can make them a load of money. But either way, that's what's been known as a bottle job, and I believe you could say that ZY have just come through the back door in order to get that one. The bottle versus back door maneuver. You know, they weren't exactly in the comfiest of positions going into that final turn, but boy did they make the most of it. Come through the unfortunate reactions of others. And again, just as a final comment, I would like to thank everyone who has been watching this. I'd also like to credit both teams. They both ran significantly well, you know. Given that this is all over Christmas and New Year's and stuff, you'd be fearful that maybe one or two runners would be not particularly drunk or anything, but not there, if you know what I mean. They'd be at risk of not having stronger lineups, or they wouldn't have practiced for a week or two. But very good war, and I do wish that the playoffs are that tight, because if the playoffs are that tight, that's going to be fantastic to cast. But thanks for everyone for watching. Feel free to give feedback in the chat, and we'll see you in another cast, which it's probably going to be next weekend. Not sure what playoffs we'll be looking at, but it will probably be a playoff for D1. If there are any requests, then we'll obviously take them. But yeah, thanks, and see you then.